Rain hammered against the roof, each drop a sharp drum in the darkness. I had never imagined the night would end like this. At 16, I thought I understood my family. I was wrong. The lights in the house flickered as if warning me. My steps echoed through the driveway, soaked shoes sticking to the cracked pavement. The front door was locked, not the casual lock, but the kind that whispered, "You don't belong here tonight." My mother's voice had carried through the storm just minutes before. "Get out. Don't come back until you learn respect." Respect. A word that had been weaponized for as long as I could remember. And my sister, Lena, was watching from the hallway, her face painted with that practiced mask of innocence. But I knew the truth. I knew she had set me up. My phone was dead before I could call anyone. No light, no warmth, just the cold rain and the electric hum of fear. My fingers trembled, not from the cold, but from realization. This isn't about a mistake. My mother wasn't angry. She was enjoying it. 20 minutes ago, I had been setting the table for dinner. Garlic bread scent, laughter bouncing off the walls. Then Lena screamed. Money gone. My name on her lips like a curse. I didn't even have a chance to explain. A slap cracked across my cheek, harder than any thunder outside. She shoved me toward the door. Standing in the storm, shivering, I noticed something. The storm wasn't just outside, it was inside, a cold vacuum where love should have been. And I understood, finally. I wasn't just punished. I was being erased. A faint light appeared on the horizon. Headlights cutting through the rain like a beacon. My father. He didn't slow. He didn't hesitate. He drove straight across the muddy lawn, tires spraying clumps of soaked earth like a warning. He jumped from the SUV, wrapping his coat around me before I could even protest. The warmth hit me, shocking my frozen body, but his face, calm, unreadable, was colder than the night. "Stay behind me," he said. His voice low, commanding, unshakable. We approached the house. The front door loomed ahead, the locked symbol of betrayal. My mother's gasp followed us as he didn't even knock. He kicked the door. Solid wood splintered. The storm inside the house collided with the storm outside. Lena crouched behind the kitchen island, her iPad clutched like a talisman. "Give it back," my father said, his eyes dark. "All of it." She squealed, clawing at him, but he moved with the patience of someone who had seen injustice for too long. "Enough games," he said. With one swipe, the iPad unlocked, exposing her lies. Messages, emails, transactions. The truth was finally visible in black and white. My mother stepped forward, trying to shield her daughter. But her shield was paper-thin. The storm had exposed the cracks long before this night. And the first thread of justice began to unravel. And then I saw it, a single photo in the messages, time-stamped just minutes ago. Me. In the rain. Alone. Shaking. And Lena's triumphant caption, "She's freezing out there. They can't help her now." I swallowed hard, but I didn't cry. I didn't beg. The realization cut through the cold, this night, this betrayal, was hers to answer for, not mine. My father's next move would decide everything. But Lena had one more secret, one more lie ready to tear our family apart. The storm was relentless, but inside the house, a different kind of tempest was brewing. My father's eyes were fixed on Lena, but the weight of silence was heavier than any rain. I wrapped the wet coat tighter around my shoulders, feeling a flicker of warmth, not just from the fabric, but from the knowledge that someone saw me. Really saw me. Lena whimpered, clutching the iPad like it contained her life. My mother's face twisted, anger turning into panic. "Robert, this is excessive," she shrieked. "You can't just." "I'm not here to argue," he said, his voice a calm blade slicing through the noise. "I'm here to find the truth." He swiped through her messages, revealing a chain of deception so precise it took my breath away. Lena hadn't just fabricated a theft. She had orchestrated a perfect storm. Emails forged. Transactions manipulated. Social media screenshots crafted to implicate me. Every step designed to isolate me, to make my family see me as the villain while she stood as the flawless victim. My stomach churned. The realization hit me harder than any slap, any shouted insult. She hadn't just wanted the money. She wanted my life rewritten in her image. My father's eyes, dark and unwavering, met mine. No fear. No hesitation. Only the promise that justice could still arrive. He didn't stop there. His hand moved toward the living room cabinet. He pulled out an envelope, sealed and stamped. I froze. The scholarship letter. My acceptance to the National STEM program, a program I thought I had lost because of Lena's lies, sat inside. He handed it to me. The truth blazed, bright and undeniable. She found it, he said, voice low. And tried to erase it. I stared at the paper, the words that could change my future. My chest tightened, not from relief, but from rage. Rage at the audacity, the cruelty, and the years of subtle sabotage I had endured in silence. Lena's wide-eyed act of innocence had been rehearsed countless times. But the storm wasn't finished. My mother, recovering from shock, lunged toward the envelope. You can't just, she needs to learn. Enough. My father's single word cut through the room. He stepped between her and me. The authority radiating from him was palpable. You've had your turn controlling the narrative. Now it's time for the truth. Lena's face crumpled, the mask slipping. You don't understand. I had to, she was going to. You were going to destroy her future, my father interrupted. For what? Jealousy? Fear? Insecurity? His voice was steady, almost frightening in its calmness. And then, he revealed the final piece. My father tapped the iPad one last time, and a deleted message popped up, hidden, time-stamped, a smoking gun. Lena had sent it minutes before she accused me of theft. She won't make it in the program. I'll make sure of it. Mom will believe me. I'll win. The room fell silent. My mother's mouth opened, closed, opened again, as if trying to scream but finding no words. Lena's cheeks burned, not with guilt, but with the realization that her plan had failed. My father turned to me. You have a choice tonight, he said. You can let this define you, or you can take control. They tried to make you small, to erase you. But that ends now. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Numbness gave way to something sharper. Determination. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about claiming my life, my future, my identity. And if they couldn't accept the truth, that was their problem. The storm outside had begun to abate, the rain softening into a drizzle. But inside, the tempest raged on. Secrets unearthed, betrayals exposed, masks shattered, our family had entered a battlefield where only truth and courage could survive. And yet, one shadow remained hidden. Lena wasn't done. There was one more secret she had buried, one more lie she planned to use as a weapon. I would soon discover a revelation that could either destroy everything, or finally set me free. The storm had softened, but the air inside the house was thick with anticipation. Every heartbeat felt like a drum echoing in a cathedral of tension. My father's gaze was sharp, unwavering, but mine kept flicking toward Lena. I knew she had one last trick up her sleeve. She didn't speak at first. Just stared at the floor, fingers gripping the edges of the iPad like a lifeline. My mother hovered behind her, still reeling from the exposure of her favoritism, the illusion of control slipping like sand through clenched fists. Then Lena looked up. Her eyes glinted, not fear, not shame, but something I hadn't seen before, calculation. You think this changes anything? She hissed. Her voice was soft, almost sweet, but underneath, it carried a razor-sharp edge. You don't know everything. My father raised an eyebrow. Calm, terrifying in its stillness. Enlighten us, he said. Her hands shook as she tapped the iPad, revealing a hidden folder I hadn't noticed before. Photos. Videos. Emails. Evidence of manipulation so meticulous it made my stomach turn. She had been documenting every interaction, every argument, every small mistake I had ever made. It wasn't just a lie about the money, she had created an archive meant to discredit me, a weapon for the future. I felt my chest tighten, panic threatening to claw its way up my throat. This was bigger than I imagined. Bigger than betrayal. This was premeditated war. My father's jaw tightened. He leaned closer to the iPad, swiping through Lena's collection. Then he froze, a flicker of recognition passing through his eyes. He tapped the screen with a sharp motion, opening one video. It was Lena. Alone. Practicing her stories, rehearsing every accusation she had ever made against me. Her words were precise, designed to provoke outrage, guilt, and disbelief. But the video ended with something I didn't expect, a shaky frame of my mother, whispering instructions, guiding her, shaping the deception. I blinked. Betrayal was no longer one-dimensional. My mother wasn't just complicit, she was the architect. Lena was the executor, and together they had conspired to cage me in a life not my own. The room fell silent. My father's eyes swept over us, dark with fury, but also with a strange calm that made the silence unbearable. Then he spoke. You've had years to control this narrative. Years to make her the villain while you stood as the victim. But the truth doesn't lie in accusations, it lies in proof. His gaze landed on me. And the proof is here. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small envelope. I recognized it immediately, another letter, this one addressed to me. Not an acceptance. A recommendation, a scholarship, and a statement of integrity from someone outside our family, confirming my achievements, my honesty, my worth. Tears stung my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I had learned from the storm, from the cold outside, from the betrayal inside, my power wasn't in pleading. It wasn't in proving myself to them. My power was in seeing the truth, standing in it, and refusing to let them define me. Lena's shoulders sagged. My mother's face twisted with disbelief, anger, and, something unfamiliar, fear. They had underestimated the one person they thought powerless. Everything you tried to destroy, my father said, voice low, controlled, is still standing. Because she's stronger than you think. The revelation hit Lena like a tidal wave. My mother stumbled back, the illusion of control shattered. But before the night could end, Lena whispered something that made the room freeze. You think this is over? You have no idea what I can do next. Lena's final move, the ultimate betrayal, would arrive at dawn, threatening everything I had just reclaimed. Could I survive it and finally claim my life? Dawn arrived slowly, painting the sky in muted grays. The storm had passed, but the tension inside the house was heavier than any downpour. I could feel it in my bones, the quiet before the final storm. Lena's eyes glimmered with defiance, but something had shifted. Her calculated poise faltered, replaced with raw, unfiltered fear. My mother hovered near the doorway, every muscle taut, as if she could stop what was coming with sheer will. You think you've won, Lena said softly, almost pleading. But one move, one small thing. My father didn't flinch. It's too late, he said. Calm, measured, immovable. The truth doesn't wait for your schemes. Lena pulled out her final card, a digital file, hidden in encrypted folders, evidence she had planned to leak to tarnish my reputation, videos, messages, manipulated accounts. The ultimate betrayal. She thrust the tablet toward the living room, her eyes daring someone to stop her. I stepped forward. My hands were steady. My heart raced, but I felt no fear. Stop, I said. My voice soft, but it cut through the tension like a knife. You don't get to control the ending anymore. She hesitated, confusion and panic battling her arrogance. That split second was all it took. My father reached for the tablet, not to destroy it, but to reveal its contents. With a few taps, the files were unlocked on the living room screen. Everything she thought was hidden, everything she believed would ruin me, was exposed, not as lies, but as the desperate attempts of someone unraveling under their own schemes. Evidence of forgery, threats, and manipulation lined the screen. And at the center, time-stamped and undeniable, Lena's confession to her friends about her plan to ruin me. My mother gasped. Her face drained of color. The mask of control she had worn for years cracked, revealing the panic beneath. This isn't real. It's as real as your choices, my father said. Calm, resolute. You created this chaos. Now you face it. Lena dropped to her knees, the weight of exposure crushing her. Tears streaked her face, but they weren't the tears of innocence, they were the tears of accountability. She had gambled with my life, my future, and lost. I felt a strange mix of triumph and sorrow. Triumph because I had survived, because I had claimed my life despite the storm of betrayal. Sorrow because I had loved a family that had turned on me, and because some wounds would leave scars that never fully healed. My father guided me outside. The morning air was crisp, tinged with the faint scent of rain-soaked grass. I inhaled deeply. Freedom tasted like cold air and sunlight breaking through clouds. We rebuild, he said quietly. Not just the house, not just our lives, but trust. One truth at a time. I nodded. My mother and Lena would have to face consequences, they could not escape what they had done, but I didn't need to rage. I didn't need revenge. I needed clarity, and finally, I had it. Later, at my desk, I opened the scholarship confirmation email. The program was reinstated. My father poured a cup of cocoa, and we sat together in silence, a calm after the storm. I realized that ownership isn't about control, it's about responsibility. And for the first time, my life felt fully mine. I glanced at the rain-speckled window one last time. The house behind me, once a place of fear and manipulation, now stood silent, neutral. Lena and my mother would have to live with their choices, but I was done waiting for anyone else to define me. The storm had ended. The reckoning had arrived. And I was finally free. If you've ever felt trapped by family betrayal, leave a comment sharing your story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more cinematic tales of survival, secrets, and truth.